So today on my beautiful client Marianne, as you can see here, we are trying to blend her gray, and also eventually she wants to just be all silver. She was also a color correction, which you will see that towards the end, you'll see all the processes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I did today. So I did air touch because I was mainly trying to remove the warmth from the ends because we're trying to just grow her natural silver out. So what I'm doing is I'm doing air touch, and then I went in with Blondie Schwarzkopf and 13 volume for the whole back because she was already pretty light. You know, she was about a level 8, 9 um in some areas. So I didn't want to over process her hair and damage her hair. And I'm using the Famar foils. I'm using their leopard foils, and then the black foils are actually her low light, which I use Wella Color Touch 5 Stroke 7-1. And basically, what I did was anywhere she naturally had like a big panel of dark, like where she really had no gray, I would do a low light on those pieces of hair so that this way it would mimic it. And then right here, I'm also weaving out any pieces that might run through the length of her hair that still have dark, since we're trying to mimic her natural silver, essentially. So yeah, so I'm basically taking this foil here, and then all those short pieces, and then any little pieces that ran through the ends, I am now applying the low light formulation onto. And then I'm going to just take another foil, cover it, fold it up, nice, neat, and tidy, that type of thing. So I didn't record the full process only because it's pretty repetitive. I've, showed the full process on other things here. So I'm just showing you how I'm basically feathering on an angle. It's going to be higher up around the face and lower towards the back of the head on these side panels. And that's just, again, going to create the illusion of like no demarcation line. It's more feathered, more blended, so that this way it'll be a little more seamless. And yeah. And then just to give you a little background, so this client had actually started growing out her gray during the shutdown. And I hadn't seen her for about a year since we were shut down. And when she came back to me, her gray was basically to her jawline. And, she's like, I think I want to go silver. She also had box eye black on like the bottom half of her hair. And we decided to take on the challenge. So I have now done 4 heads of highlights to her. This is the 4th one today, which is the video that you're watching. So the first one, I mainly focused on just removing the black dye from her ends. And I was picking up any piece of hair that was gray. That was probably the most tedious of them all. That probably took about like 7 hours. Today was a lot faster. A lot faster. And then basically the second one, I did the same thing. So, she came back. So the first application, I had lifted it. It lifted to basically like a level 6. It was like that reddish orange. I toned it just to neutralize it as much as I can, just so that it looked presentable. And then she came back for a second session, which we did that, and that lifted it a little bit lighter. And then our third session, which was before this one, I had did basically a full head of baby lights to her. And that was just so that I could start incorporating her silver and it'll grow out a little bit smoother, as opposed to just bleaching the dark areas, which then came to, if you saw the before for today, why it grew out so seamless and smooth was because I did those baby lights. And since that demarcation was so smooth from her gray into the highlights that we're doing, that's why I opted to do air touch instead, so that this way I wasn't really disturbing that demarcation line, but I would be able to get out any banding in her hair that was, remaining the warmth on her ends, so that this way we could just essentially get her to like a white blonde. So I'm basically almost done with the back half of her head here. Like I said, I used, just a reminder, Blondie Schwarzkopf and 13 volume. It is definitely my go-to. Yeah, this is the last piece on the left side of the back. So, just going in, doing a highlight, and then, feathering, that type of thing. I also did use Olaplex. I'm a big, big, big fan of Olaplex. I truly love it. Like, I think it's a great product. There's others that are pretty decent, but Olaplex for me was a game changer. Um, so I'm just showing you here a little clip of all the foils of the back. So as you know, again, the dark foils are her lowlights, which is just mimicking her natural color wherever she would naturally be dark. And then the leopard foils are the highlights. So yeah, she's one of my cool clients. I love her. She's such an amazing person. And I was so honored to actually do the transformation of taking her silver because that's a very big thing for women. We're told that, being silver means you're old, and I don't think that's the case at all. And, we're just mimicking what she naturally has and we're just enhancing it. And then I was showing her the foils there, that they're kind of textured so that, it allows the lightener to grab to the foil a little bit better. And yeah, so I'm basically just finishing up the right side of her head, the upper part of that section. And then the money piece as well. So you'll get to see that a little bit. And yeah, and then for this section, for the left side, I had remixed the bowl of lightener and I had did 15 volume, which I'm continuing into this section, on the side that I'm working on. And then there's going to be one more time that I remix, which I then bumped the developer up to 20 volume. And the reason I did that is because we really wanted a bright money piece around her face. And since that's all her virgin hair, it could handle it. So I wasn't afraid of running the lightener through it, if you will. So yeah. And then, like I said, any sections that I pick up that are, already dark, there's no point to just bleaching them and making them orange. So I'm going to just enhance them with the low light. Which I didn't really do any around the face because we were trying to keep that brightness there. And she has more heaviness of the silver around her face, except for where the money piece is. Ironically, she has a big strip of silver and it's absolutely beautiful right behind the money piece. So it's so weird how gray hair color can grow in, but I was obsessed, like obsessed, obsessed. And don't worry, I am periodically checking her foils just to make sure the integrity of her hair was still there. Every time we have done one of her highlighting services, I always give her a trim on her ends just to ensure that, her ends are nice and clean. And then this is a little pro tip for you. Sometimes I feel like if you get a little spot that's like not blended perfectly, you can take your tail comb and kind of break it up, for example, and that will help. And then I went back in with the brush and just refeathered it, and then it was fine. So yeah, so basically right here, this is where I remixed for 20 volume. Um, and I did baby lights in this whole section. So I use the Vellon combs. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. They're awesome. They're basically automatic highlighting combs. And I use the highlight. So there's 5 in a set. There's a strand light, a baby light, a highlight, a medium light, and a chunky light. So I was using the number 3, the highlight comb, and I believe I did 4 back to back, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's 4. If it's not, it might be 5. But I'm pretty sure it's 4. Anywho, don't mind me. So yeah, so I I just got to doing that, and like I said, 20 volume. It was like, let's, really brighten her up around the face, lift through any warmth there might be on the ends. And for the most part, her bangs have been trimmed more than anything else. So it really was her virgin hair. So I didn't feel weird overlapping because I knew her hair could handle it in that area. Um, and the reason why I increase my developers as I go is I find that it keeps everything processing more evenly. And then also the cool thing about it is that because you're starting off slow in the back, it kind of gives you time where you don't feel like you have to like speed through it. It gives you time to not have to worry. So I've always done it this way. It's my favorite way to do things. Don't mind me here. My mom had actually called and then she decided to put me on hold. So I just put the phone on speaker and I threw it on the station. She actually called my boss because I was recording on my phone. So yeah, so she ended up calling me. I didn't even realize I usually have my phone on do not disturb when I'm recording so that this way I don't lose any footage. And my mom called my boss. She needed me to help her with something. So don't mind me. So there's gonna be like a cut coming up, and that's basically what that was me trying to explain all of that to my mom. Which yeah, I think that was like right here. And then yeah, so it was 4 back to back baby lights, and then there was just a little piece here that I did air touch to, just because I didn't want to leave it out and it was a little warm. And yeah, so basically we're just about done with the application, and I'm going to show you the whole you know the whole foil application so you could see everything. I'm going to explain all of my formulations, that type of thing. So yeah, so you're going to see this is what the whole foil application looks like. Again, we did air touch because we're trying to blend, and I figured I'd give you a little bit more just so that you could see it. And then I did her overall toner. I used Wella Pale Platinum with 6 volume for about 20 minutes. Processed her the full time, and this is the finished result. I mean, I'm just absolutely obsessed. We finally were able to like break through that warmth and get her to a nice like neutral blonde. And it's pretty seamless. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but our goal is to incorporate her gray. And as you can see here, I did a breakdown of the whole color correction for you. And then this is the before and after of today's session, just so that you can see the difference. I mean, it's huge. Tell me what you think.